Wait a moment. I'm about to tell you something very important right now, and when you hear it, something inside you will tighten because this tells your story. The moment you open your mouth and start defending yourself, you've already lost the game. If you just thought, but I was right, you already understand what I mean. Imagine this. You're in a meeting. Your boss says in front of everyone, you're not taking this project seriously. Or at 11 p.m., a message comes from your partner. You're always this selfish. Or at the family dinner, your mother says, you never call to check in. You feel that familiar tightness in your chest, cortisol spikes, your brain screams. You were misunderstood. Correct the record. Speak. And you speak. You explain. You give justifications. You pull out messages and present evidence. And at that exact moment, you've extended your throat to them. Because the world judges you not by the accuracy of your words, but by the desperation in your voice. Now I want to ask you something honestly. How many times in your life did you defend yourself and the other person genuinely said, you're right, I was wrong? How many times did you present evidence, give justifications, explain everything, and in the end received an apology? Almost never. Isn't that right? Because the attack was never about truth, it was about power. They accused you because they wanted to see if you'd jump. Your friend says, you're always late. You immediately start explaining the traffic, the meeting, the emergency. But your friend isn't curious. They're testing, watching to see if you'll jump. And you jumped. Every time. Like a reflex, almost automatically. Because this started in childhood. When an adult wrongly accused you at age 5, the only way to escape punishment was explanation. I didn't break it, it fell. I didn't hit, they hit first. You learned that authority figures held the power of judgment and your survival depended on convincing the figure you were good. Explanation was a survival mechanism. The problem is this: you grew up, but that child didn't. Right now, when you defend yourself against your boss, your partner, a stranger on the internet, your subconscious still sees that authority figure, still tries to earn their approval, and people, no matter how civilized they appear, instinctively pick up that scent of submission. Hervey Cleckley, in his works dissecting the anatomy of consciencelessness, laid bare one of humanity's least discussed truths. People don't submit to the person who is right, they submit to the person who holds the frame. Power is not the reward of correctness, it's in the hands of whoever controls the narrative. And the moment you defend yourself, you've stepped into their narrative, you've sat in the defendant's chair in their courtroom. Robert Greene writes, "It is safer to be feared than loved." Translate this to modern social dynamics. It is safer to be respected than understood. A king doesn't explain his decisions to peasants. A lion doesn't explain his hunt to the gazelle. A surgeon doesn't stop the operation to tell the patient why he's holding the scalpel. The moment you start giving justifications, pulling out messages and presenting evidence, you've given them the keys to your house. And once that key is in their hands, they can return whenever they want and burn everything down. So what if you hadn't jumped? Imagine this scenario. You're incredibly selfish right now, they say. The old you would have immediately started, "No, yesterday I did this for you. The day before that, I'm just tired." And this defense makes you smaller, shows you as reactive and weak. But now try this. You look at them, you don't break eye contact, your face is completely neutral, neither angry nor defensive. You're just there. And you let the silence hang in the air 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds. In that silence, a psychological vacuum forms. The human brain fears silence during conflict. The other person senses the game isn't working and begins to collapse. I mean, not always, but why are you looking like that? Are you going to say something? They start defending themselves against your silence. Power shifted without you uttering a single word, just by existing. Most people spend their lives as emotional puppets. The boss's face ruins the day. The tone of an incoming message keeps them up at night. A glance writes scenarios in their head. Every day they spend a little more energy. Every day they become a little more dependent on others' approval, and they don't even realize it because this has become normal for them. But there is a different path, a way of walking so detached, so sovereign, so psychologically impenetrable that insults dissolve before they reach you. This has nothing to do with coldness, nothing to do with arrogance or indifference. This is about starting to feed your reality from within rather than from outside, about uprooting the need to be understood down to its roots. If you can kill that need, the part that begs to be understood, the part that needs permission, the part that can't be at ease without validation, you become dangerous. You become untouchable, truly, deeply, permanently untouchable. You reversed it. This is the weaponized version of the gray rock method. You become a void. A void cannot be attacked. You can't punch fog. You can't cut water. You can try to tear down a wall, but what will you do if there's no wall? By refusing to provide the resistance of a defense, you cause the attack to pass through you and throw them off balance. They came expecting an enemy. They found no one. And this disturbs them far more than they expected. This requires tremendous inner control. Because inside your ego is screaming, respond. Say something clever. Defend yourself. Prove you're right. Don't listen to that voice. Keep the dog on its leash. Cleckley knew this. The most powerful person in the room is the one who cannot be read. If you defend yourself, you expose your values. You reveal what hurts you. You show your buttons. You scream, I'm not stupid. Now they know your insecurity is intelligence. You say, I'm not a bad person. Now they know your insecurity is moral standing. You say you can't manipulate me. Now they know your sensitivity to manipulation. Silence reveals nothing. It is a dark mirror. When they look into it, they see only the reflection of their own aggression, and this disturbs them deeply. Sometimes silence isn't enough. Sometimes the situation requires words, but never defensive words. If you need to speak, never push against force. Pull it. Use the Aikido of speech. In dark psychology, there's a concept called agree and amplify. It creates cognitive dissonance in the aggressor. If someone accuses you of something absurd, defending yourself validates the absurdity. It implies the accusation is serious enough to deserve a response. You've treated it as a real and important matter. Instead, you dive into it. You exaggerate it until it becomes a caricature. Aggressor, you're obsessed with money, you're greedy. Defensive you, no, I'm not. I just want to support my family. Boring, predictable, weak. Your defense shows you've accepted their frame. Cleckley version, you caught me. Actually, every Tuesday I swim in a vault full of gold coins like Scrooge McDuck. It's terrible for my back, but I can't stop. You say this with a straight face or a mildly amused smile. What did you do here? You refused to be insulted. You proved you're not insecure about this. You turned a serious attack into a joke. You revealed that it's not them, but you who frames reality. This disarms the aggressor. They wanted to hurt you. Instead, you take their knives and peel an apple, smiling. This is the mark of amused mastery. Amused mastery is the ultimate form of high status. It's the attitude of a parent watching a child throwing a tantrum. You don't get angry at the child. You don't argue with the child. You don't try to give the child long explanations because you know you're safe. You find the drama amusing. You watch it like watching a show. When you defend yourself, you're getting down on the floor and screaming with the child. You're descending to their level. You're entering their reality. Don't do this. Stand up. Look from above. Smile. Because playing at that level means existing at that level. Social psychologists from Stanford University, in their research on status dynamics, revealed the following. People find individuals who don't feel the need to explain themselves far more authoritative and trustworthy. Explanatory behavior directly and measurably lowers status in the eyes of observers. So all those explanations, all those justifications, all those efforts to present evidence instead of making you appear right do exactly the opposite. They make you appear less trustworthy, more defensive, less powerful. Think about it. Your entire life, You were conditioned in the exact opposite direction. You were presented with explaining yourself as a mature and responsible behavior. No, most of the time it's just a loss of status. And now you can learn to stop this. Robert Greene, in Law 25 of the 48 Laws, says recreate yourself. Part of this is refusing the identity others try to impose on you. When they label you, they're trying to put you in a box. They want you to stay inside that box. Because the person in the box is predictable. The person in the box is controllable. The person in the box is not a threat. If you fight the box, you're still inside the box. You've accepted the box, you're just arguing about its dimensions. But if you mock the box, you melt it. They say you're arrogant. I prefer to call it attractive confidence, but whatever. You don't care about anyone but yourself. I'm working on it. I'll add you to the list of people I care about next year. This is savage, this is dismissive, and it is incredibly attractive. Why? Because it shows you are whole. It shows you are complete. It shows you don't need their labels. Someone who knows they are generous laughs when called stingy. Someone who knows they are intelligent laughs when called stupid. Someone who knows they are loyal shrugs when called a traitor. If you are defending yourself, it means deep down you fear they might be right. You're afraid because that wound is already there. And the shadow work you need to do is this. Let's go even deeper into the philosophy of interaction. Every conversation has a metastructure, a hidden architecture, a power dynamic constantly operating beneath the surface. In conflict, there's generally a judge and a defendant. The judge asks, "Why did you do this? What were you thinking? Who do you think you are?" The defendant answers, "I did it because I was thinking that, my plan was this, my intention was that." The one asking the questions has power. The one answering loses status. Every question builds a frame, and answering within that frame means accepting that frame. The most lethal move is to simply refuse the role of defendant and seize the role of judge. You do this by answering a question with a question, or by analyzing their behavior instead of your own. Them. Why are you always this late? Defensive you. There was traffic, and my alarm didn't go off, and I went to bed very late last night, and I had a morning meeting. Loser. Cleckley version. You. Why does my arrival time put you in such a deep mood? Boom. Do you see the shift? We're no longer talking about the time. We're now talking about their emotional stability. We're talking about their reaction. You've turned the light completely back on them, and now they are on the defensive, not you. Them. You're acting ridiculous. Cleckley version you. What need do you have to use labels like that to make your point? You're psychoanalyzing them in real time. You're examining them like a specimen. This drives a manipulator mad. They want to see you in a defensive position. Instead, you're walking calmly around them, observing them. I find it interesting that you perceive it that way. Does saying this make you feel better? You seem very invested in this topic. These phrases are shields. They recognize the sound coming from the other person's mouth, but reject the content. This is a verbal force field. You're saying this is your problem, not mine. You're saying I'm not involved in this argument. This anger, this disappointment, this accusation, all of it stays with you. I'm just watching. This is not just a technique. It is a spiritual stance. It is the realization that others' perceptions of you are none of your concern. Their anger is their problem. Their disappointments are their own responsibilities to manage. Their power to give or withhold approval has no power over you. When you defend yourself, you're trying to carry their emotional baggage. You're trying to fix their feelings. You're trying to make them feel good. Stop. Let go. Let them carry their own weight. Now let's get to the paradox. Sometimes the most powerful move you can make is to agree, but not the way you think. This is not surrender. This is the quiet acceptance of the abyss. Imagine someone is screaming at you, listing your flaws, trying to start a fight. Every word a hook, every sentence a trap. And you look into their eyes and calmly say, "You're right." And you cut the conversation. "You're right. Sometimes I can be a difficult person. You're right, I messed this up." This is the fogging technique. What happens when you throw a stone at a fog bank? Nothing. No thudding sound, no bouncing back. The stone simply disappears. It leaves no trace. When you agree with an aggressor, exactly this happens. You steal their momentum. They lean against the door they expected to be locked. When you open the door, they fall flat on their face. They want to fight. They want resistance, because resistance justifies their anger. Resistance gives them energy. Agreement, however, extinguishes all that energy in an instant. But here's the nuance. While agreeing with the truth in their statements, you must not accept the shame they're trying to attach to it. There's a deep chasm between accepting a mistake and accepting a character assassination. You ruined this report. You're incompetent. Defense, I'm not incompetent. The data was wrong. I did the best I could. Power move. You're right. There are errors in the report. I'll fix it. Notice what was left out. You didn't touch the incompetent part. You completely ignored the insult and addressed the reality. You took ownership of the action, but not ownership of your identity. This is a tremendous sign of confidence. Only a person truly certain of their competence can accept a mistake this easily and quickly. Insecure people fight to the end until exhausted, sometimes to the point of destroying their relationships, to prove they made no mistake. Secure people simply say, "Oops, my fault," and move on. Cleckley would call this disarming the enemy. When you drop your sword, they look foolish standing there with their swords in hand. It deflates the wind from their sails. It makes them appear hysterical, and you appear solid. And history is written by those with solid foundations. None of this works if it's only a tactic. If you're using these sentences, but your voice is trembling, your eyes are darting everywhere, your hands are gripping the table, or your energy is screaming, "Please love me," it will fail. The other person senses this. People read energy, not words. Dark psychology is 20% words, 80% nonverbal framing. You need to build the inner architecture that supports the silence. And this brings us back to the shadow. Why does it hurt when they attack? Because they're touching a wound that's already there. If I said you have green skin, you can't get angry. You'd think I was crazy. You'd laugh. You wouldn't defend yourself, because this claim has no connection to you in any way. But if I say you're a failure and you defend yourself, it's because a part of you suspects they might be right. If I say you're worthless and it shakes you, that wound is already there. They didn't create that wound, they just pressed on it. The ultimate defense is not a verbal technique. It is self-knowledge. It is looking into your own darkness and owning your own flaws and accepting your own shadow in all its nakedness. And when you know you're capable of selfishness and someone says you're selfish, sometimes you can say yes. When you know you're capable of cruelty and someone says you're cruel, you can say possibly. When you know you're capable of failure and someone says you're a failure, you can shrug, because this is no longer new information. You already know this. You've already accepted it. You have no secrets anymore, and you cannot threaten a person who has no secrets. You cannot shame a man who has already accepted himself. You cannot expose a woman who has nothing left to hide. This is what it means to be untouchable. You've already integrated the parts others try to use against you. You become transparent. Light passes through you. Arrows pass through you. You are no longer a castle that needs defending. You are wind, and you cannot wage war against the wind. This is why the challenge is this. For the next 7 days, you will play a game. The game is called No Defense. The rule is single and simple. No matter what happens, no matter how small the accusation, you are forbidden from explaining yourself. If you were late, just say, "I was late." Stop. Don't give the reason. Don't blame the traffic. Don't blame the alarm. Don't blame last night's late hour. Just say, "I was late." If you spilled the coffee, just say, "I spilled the coffee." Don't blame the glass. Don't blame the tiredness. Just say, "I spilled it." If someone is misunderstanding you, let them misunderstand you. Sit in the fire of that discomfort of being misunderstood. Feel that urge. Feel fully that urge to correct, to explain, to manage their perception, to appear as the good person. And then watch. Watch that urge turn to ash. Observe what happens to the people around you. Watch how they react when you stop playing the game. First, you'll see confusion. Something changed, but they can't quite figure out what. Then you'll see respect, a kind of quiet, involuntary respect. Then a strange attraction, a magnetism they can't explain, because people are drawn to certainty, and nothing screams certainty louder than the posture of a person who doesn't need to explain why they exist. You're reclaiming your energy. You're plugging the leaks in your soul. Every defense, every explanation, every justification was an energy leak, small but constant, and now you're closing those leaks. You're stepping out of the role of the child and into the role of the sovereign. The world will try to pull you back. It will try to dangle bait. People have gotten used to your old version. They love the predictability of that version, the manageability of that version. Your new version will disturb them. They'll want you to react. They'll want you to explain. They need your defense because your defense gives them power. You will no longer give that power. Don't give it to them. Don't give it to anyone. Keep your mystery. Keep your power. Keep your silence. If this philosophy is touching the darker, deeper parts of your mind, that part tired of performing for others, then you know what you need to do. Subscribe, but not because I want you to. Subscribe because in a world of hunters, you are done being prey.